Well, good morning, everyone, and hi. Did you know that there was a sculpture of Humpty Dumpty that was stolen? Yeah, there was. There's a mad search for it across the country. We have got a dog that ran the Dodger Stadium bases. I won't tell you the time because that's a teaser. And Super Mario movie's coming out. Can you believe that? All that and much more on this morning's Morning Laugh.
Good morning, everyone. Oh man, I'm excited. You're a human being. I'm a human being. We're all human beings. And the best part is, I haven't been on this show in a couple of weeks. I'll be honest with you. It's been crazy. But here I am. And to make things even crazier and even better, not only am I here, but two other guys are not here. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that I'm here so they have to leave or I'd like to believe that they already had stuff planned, but let's be honest. I don't think that that's the case. But we do have another fella. You already saw him. He's the great, the awesome Brian Kohatsu. So let's welcome him back in.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Yeah. It's the equivalent of Gilligan's Island and the rest.
Exactly.
So welcome back, Chris. You've been gone due to scheduling mishaps and various other things. So it's good to see you again. Of course, I'm here for you, man. I'm here for you.
Thanks.
Unlike what's his name and what's his name?
Yeah, whatever their names are.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I mean,
they're both in the bathroom. But like, as you pointed out in our notes, Mike is in the bathroom on an airplane.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Yeah. If you're brand new to the show, we have this long-running joke, gag, whatever it is, where if somebody's out, we just say that they're in the bathroom.
Because I don't know how much of a joke that is.
It's not a joke. It's really. I think we thought it would be a joke, and then it continues, and then just like every comic, you have to just purposely keep bringing it up when every other human is like, "That's not funny." But there's something
like there's a lot of abdominal issues.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed that actually as a comic, sometimes what's not funny is hilarious because you're just so used to funny.
Yeah.
So, that's how I feel. I want Brian and I are both going to talk about our drinks today. I only say that because I got this brand new clear mug from Nespresso, and I'm very happy about it.
Very nice. So what kind of coffee are you drinking this morning?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, let's turn this into a coffee show. I am currently drinking a caramel cookie coffee. It's not sweet. It's just that's what it's called in Nespresso. It's got like
was that or eat a cookie this morning?
Yes, which I had considered highly.
I think you made the right choice.
Thanks. Yeah, it's good.
I'm having a cup of black decaf because I'm trying to be. I'm older than you, so I got to start thinking about my health. Eventually, if a doctor's going to say you need decaf, I'm one step ahead of him. I'm already drinking that gross stuff already. So,
wait, why decaf? It's the morning.
You know what? I'm psychosomatic when it comes to coffee. As long as I smell it, I wake up anyway. So it's not
okay.
Although, see, this is how I've trained myself because as a comic, you're at a club late at night. So my thing is, I go and I'm decaf all the time. So when I actually have coffee, it actually wakes me up. See?
Oh, all right.
It does what it's supposed to do for me, is what I'm saying. So that's what I do. So speaking of coffee, so you've got that glass cup. Do you think that keeps your coffee warmer longer?
It probably doesn't. It probably cools it down. I don't know how science works.
Yeah.
But although it is pretty hot. So yeah. Is it supposed to?
That's good.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. I don't know I've never researched that myself. I do like coffee in a glass mug though. It does change the experience of drinking the coffee.
Yeah, it does. And I'll tell you something, Brian. Speaking of science, as you had just lifted, I was at a lunch place, and it was so delicious too. And it was called City of Spice. If you're in Phoenix, Arizona, you got to go to it. And they have like it was like Indian food. And I go there. I'm sitting. These kids come in, and they're obviously they're the kids of the owner, and they come in from school, so it's like 2:30. They come in from school, and then immediately they just start working. And I'm telling you, they're like 9 and like 6, and
Wow.
they're the most adorable kids I've ever seen. The boy comes up to everybody at the table, at every table, and he's like, "Hi, are you guys enjoying everything?" You know, all that kind of stuff. So it's
Yeah.
like cool. Then the little girl who didn't do anything because she's little, she's not really working. But all of a sudden she says something that blows my mind. Like, you know how sometimes these kids come home from school and they say something and you're like, what? And
Yeah.
the girl just shouted, I think for the whole room to like the whole restaurant to hear. She's like, did you know that hot water freezes quicker than cold water? And the dad was like, really? And I was like, wait, really? That's crazy. I didn't know that. Is that how? I don't know. My mind, then the whole time I'm just eating curry and I'm like, what?
Did you have a bunch of follow-up questions for the little girl?
Yeah.
So, wait,
and
come here. I have some other questions I want to run by you.
Yeah. I'm like, hold on. You're now my science teacher.
So why does the atmosphere does what it does to make sunsets? How does that work?
Right.
You know, other things like that. I thought you were going to say the little girl came in and started yelling like, Janet, I told you the sweet and low goes over here. And if I see another mess the next time I come in here, you're out of here. You know who my father is? Do you know who my father is? Yeah. Get packing, sister. Hi, Daddy.
Oh, she did that. She did do that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi,
I'm sure she knows who she is. She
Oh,
knows
yeah.
who she is for sure.
Oh,
She'll
for
be running
sure.
that place before you know it. That's how it works, man. Kids grow up very quickly, and suddenly you're like, wait a minute, I'm working for this 6-year-old now.
Right. Speaking of
26.
6-year-olds, there was a famous story of Humpty Dumpty
Mhm.
actually made the headlines.
Okay.
Okay,
I
you want me
alluded
to
to
I
it.
didn't know if I was leading in and you were gonna
Yeah,
then
no,
go.
it was just transitions. Like
I thought what I did was perfect, and then there was no receiving end, and I kind
you
of
were gone. I didn't know how far you were going, so
that was as far as I was. I threw it, and I was
it was good.
Yeah.
It's good. You've been gone a few weeks, so
I
you've been gone a few weeks. You might be a little rusty. I didn't know where you were going with it. So okay.
Never rusty. No.
I will say this real quick before you start on the story.
Yeah.
This pairing has never happened on the show before. You and I.
No, we can still have an episode.
It's like WrestleMania.
Yeah,
you're not feeling it, you tag out, and then a fresh one comes in.
That's right. That's right.
It's chaos. You got all the characters and the screaming and the yelling. And Mike's always like, this Tuesday I'm gonna be at the Comedy Hut, and like, what? Where did that come from? And wrestlers break things. Speaking of breaking things, Humpty Dumpty, what?
Humpty Dumpty was not broken. Humpty was, and it got stolen. And
for
so
some reason, I want to say it's $1,400 Canadian, but it's not. It's U.S. money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's bronze, so it's a pretty good quality. And I can put the link at the bottom in case you just want to see what it looks like. But it got stolen. It was named Dumpty Humpty, like I said. My question to you, Brian, is who do you think would possibly have stolen it and why?
I'm going to say probably the makers of the Squatty Potty. They're the first people always on my list as being suspicious. So I would think they want it. They're probably holding it for ransom to make Squatty Potty 2, which will probably have foot warmers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. They probably need the money.
Yeah.
I don't know who would. Some old lady who's a storyteller who's just like, this is an abomination.
Yeah.
Showing him
good question.
Doing his duty.
That's a good question. I think there's a couple of things with this. One is that, and I've heard this years ago and it kind of blew my mind. Nobody ever said Humpty Dumpty was an egg. So I think that part is, it's like he's always an egg. Like, interesting. And the second thing I would say is I've recently, this is a new thing, Brian, and I think it's because the show Only Murders in the Building, I've been watching it nonstop. And the whole idea, if you haven't seen it, is like, first off, it's like the greatest, it's Martin Short and Steve Martin, and the whole thing is like they've just decided to try to solve this murder in their building. Like that's the plot. And I thought, you know what? Every human being should be allowed one mystery to go solve. Like I think I want to get Mike in. I want to go look at something and be like, that's a mystery. The police aren't going to solve it. We will. And I got to be honest. I'm kind of tempted with this Humpty Dumpty one. I wouldn't mind flying to Wisconsin and really trying to figure this mystery out. I'm
Start
just
hitting the streets.
Yeah, I'm kind of hitting the streets, asking for video footage, walking into the store. Hey, I noticed, that two men were there that night. Could I see that footage? I want to see who they are. I think everyone should be allowed that, and I think everyone should do it.
And then you'll wander into the local diner and be like, "How's everybody doing this morning, sir? I noticed you're not eating any eggs."
Exactly.
A lot of hatred toward eggs. Is that what's going on? One more question, sir, before I leave. What's that stain there on your jacket? And then that breaks the case right there. You Columboed him, and like bam, he's like, I needed the money. My ex-wife she was terrible to me.
You're like, hey, sir, would you be upset if I dropped this egg and then we couldn't put the pieces back together again?
Yeah.
Talk or else. It would be like that. Yeah. I think it's a great idea. Would you ever
very
do
early
that?
in the morning? I'm hungry for eggs now. The scenario is maybe starving.
I have eggs, Brian. I can make it for you.
Okay.
Would you ever do that? Like if I challenged you to just go on to the news and find one mystery to solve, would it be a fun one or would it be murder? What would you do?
I don't know. You deal with murders, you start dealing with weird people. So
yeah, I wouldn't do it.
I'll go look for an egg sitting on a toilet.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
If you're watching the show, I'd love to hear you comment or hear you. I'd love to see your comments. What kind of mystery would you want to solve? Would it be something like
I think I could speak for everybody and say that, the best mystery to go solve is one that takes place at a carnival or a circus. Mm-hmm. And there's some mishaps going on with some ghosts scaring away customers, right. I think that would, because from what I understand about solving those mysteries, you get to eat whatever foods you want, salami sandwiches that are like this long that you can just like put in your mouth in one shot, and then you jump in a van with all your friends, and there you go. That's the kind of mystery everybody wants to solve.
And you get to pull masks off of people later on, which is nice.
Yeah. Granted, the suspects are always the old guys in town, but
that's a good point. I had not thought of that. Real quick, Michelle Van Dusen said, who are these two guys? Bring back the old guy and the vet.
Well, thank you, Michelle, for your vote of confidence for the two yahoos that you're watching on screen.
Thanks for calling us young. Intentionally. Appreciate it.
Mike is the old curmudgeon on the show, which, by the way, you would have gotten away with it if it weren't for those kids.
Wait, okay. Can I go on a quick tangent about Mike? Because Mike has quickly become one of my favorite human beings in the world. Okay, so I tell this to every time that we go now when we're going on the road together. I'll get off the road and I'll just tell Micah some of the funniest stories about all of you guys. And it's fair share. It's even. It's, hey, Brian said this and it was cracking. You had Johnny Fry cracking up that whole weekend. But Mike makes me laugh so hard because, and I love it because I feel like at any given time he can go on a rant about somebody or something or anything. And it's like my favorite thing in the world. I want him to have his own show. And it's just Mike's rants. I'll tell him this to his face. That's why I don't mind saying this. He needs to have his own show, Mike's rants, and I want it to be a rant about anything. Because we were talking about, this is for the listening viewers. I was trying to tell Brian he has to watch Only Murders in the Building. And Mike had seen it. And I'm thinking, okay, great. I got Mike on board. Now we're going to be able to convince Brian to watch it, which, Brian's not against it. But still, I'm like, we're going to convince him. Then Mike was like, well, a lot of older jokes in there. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, a lot of older. Steve Martin's in there. What are you talking about?
Right.
The best show. It's so funny. It's like he needs to do rants. He needs it.
I just spent after our show in Kansas, which was awesome, by the way, and we haven't talked about that on here. But anyways, that was a great weekend. Mike and I flew to Las Vegas because our buddy was turning 51, and so we were hanging out in Vegas, not on purpose at the World Series of Comedy, but we were there at the World Series of Comedy.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to watch some questionable comedy and sit in the back with Mike James. Dude, I can't tell you how many times we were like, shut up. Shh. Look, everyone can hear you. So I think the moral of the story is Mike James, very opinionated.
Okay, yes, yes. But it's hilarious the way he chooses to share the opinions is so perfectly worded. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that guy has a sarcasm gene that is just strong. It's like,
well, okay,
this is
when he comes back on the show, we need to have him have his own section of the show called Mike's Rants, and then eventually it'll be a spinoff, and I would love to produce it. So
yeah, he'll leave us in the dust, though. People are not going to tune in for us anymore. It's just going to be not that they do anyway, but they're going to tune in for Mike going like, still salt and pepper shakers. Are you kidding me? And then it's just like, bam! It's like, yeah, you know what? He's right. That's the worst part. He was right.
Wait, I know. The way he says it, it kind of is convincing sometimes. I'm like, wow, I haven't thought of it like that. Okay.
Yeah. It's like these are two flavors that should never be together, but yet they're always together. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, okay. So the other thing that was funny is in Kansas, in the morning. So Sunday night, we had this awesome show at the historic Augusta Theater, the Augusta Historic Theater. Sorry, that's what it was. They had billboards of us. They had signs. It was the coolest thing. The whole town was like, pointing towards our show. So that was an incredible, awesome blessing. Well, the Sunday morning, we were all splitting up and going to different churches to just, kind of like do a couple jokes and remind everybody, hey, if you haven't bought your tickets, go ahead and buy them. Well, I didn't realize this, but Josh purposely tried to antagonize Mike. And he had said, he's like, hey, so for the church, you think it's okay if I just wear shorts? And Mike was like, you can't wear shorts on Sunday morning. Josh was like, no, it'll be fine. I'm just going to wear shorts. And Mike goes, and he sighed and he walked away. And I honestly thought Josh was serious.
I did too.
Did you? Okay. I said, Josh, I really don't think you should wear shorts. He's like, I'm not wearing shorts. I just said that to get Mike all flustered. I was like,
yeah.
It's terrible.
That's hilarious because I didn't know whether or not, because at first I thought he's joking, and then I thought he's not joking. So I still didn't know for sure until now. So that's hilarious because it did set Mike off later going, are you kidding me right now?
I know. I thought he was serious. And somebody told me that. I was like, Josh, you're terrible. And that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, Mike is a little easy to needle and prod because he leaves himself so open for it, which I think is the best part. So
my point is I love touring with all of you guys. Anyway,
that was a fun trip, and I will say that Mike, this is not Mike related, but you'll see how it is in a second. We were at the restaurant that we frequented over and over again. The gentleman who came in with the no shirt on and his kids, I thought Mike was going to lose it. This guy walked into a restaurant with no shirt on, jeans. I think he had shoes, I think. Then he had a baby that was in a little tractor.
Hey, he's not crazy, okay? Of course he walked in with shoes. But everything else.
He wasn't breaking the law or anything, right?
Yeah.
And then he had there was 3 kids total or something like that. Anyways.
One came in a tractor. And
one came in a little baby tractor.
Yeah. It was just it was a great little restaurant by our hotel. But yeah, it was the weirdest thing.
Oh my God.
It was fantastic. Yeah, I wanted to go back to something real quick. Michelle said for a great mystery for her would be Area 51. Is it real or not? And I love the idea of picking a big mystery that everybody knows of and saying, I'm going to be the one to solve it. So that's not a bad idea. But again, you'd have to drive to Area 51, try to figure it out.
It is a long drive because I've done it. I haven't gone to Area 51, but I have been. I swear to you, when I say this, we've been to the gift shop. There is one outside of town. It's huge. See, but the Area 51, you start messing with that, you could get killed. I'm pretty sure. You know, even just going to the front to take a look at the desert gate.
You know what actually would be a mystery that would probably be easy for you or I to figure out is just things that are going on with celebrities. Like, you know how like just in the entertainment industry, you hear rumors about somebody and they could be as famous as they could be the most famous human being. They could be like somewhere in the middle. And I hear things all the time. So I'm sure you do too. Yeah. And it's been weird. There's something in particular. I can't say it honestly, because I would feel really bad, but super famous person found out, heard something. I was like, there's no way that's true. Then I did my own research and I was like, oh no. And so I don't know how else I shouldn't have said that, because now everybody's going to be curious, but
sure. I will say this. So anytime I hear stuff like that, because I've got a few friends that work in Hollywood, and I can usually talk to them, and they always have a story of somebody else they know who has an inside scoop on it.
Yes.
So there's been several things I've been like, is that true? And they're like, well, so-and-so said that blah, 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 blah. And you're like, wow, really? Some of them are pretty specific things. Yeah. So you're like, that couldn't be a lie. You know?
Oh yeah. Well,
so we'll talk later and I'll give you my juice.
Yeah, I know. Well, but I will say, I think that would be an easy mystery. So the one in particular, nobody, I even Googled it. Nobody's talking about it, but yet there is some pretty significant evidence you could find through interviews. And so I was telling my wife, I was like, Micah, I could be the guy to break this story, but is that what the Lord wants of me?
Right.
It's not a good thing. It would be terrible. It's not illegal or anything, but you know,
this isn't what your legacy is about.
Yeah, exactly. It would just ruin the person's reputation. That's all. So
look, so I broke the mystery on whether or not John Stamos uses gel or mousse. Okay, I'm not going to say which one it is. I'm not going to say it.
That's the mystery, and that's why I can't.
But let's just say it's a full house in there. Okay, it's both. Anyway, but I've said too much.
I know, but I think the authorities. Yeah, I don't know. That's what lately I've never cared about it, but then lately I keep hearing different things about random celebrities, and I'm like, but why would somebody have this information unless it was somewhat true? So
yeah, it's always weird how some of those Hollywood rumors get started too, based on something like kind of weird, and then suddenly you're like, that's not true. A lot of them too stem from things that may have happened in a movie, but people forgot about, and then it becomes a rumor based on that.
Wow, that's a good point too. Wow.
Just because they think, oh yeah, for that movie that happened, whatever. Yeah. Because when you're a little kid and you're on the playground talking about this stuff, really? Yeah. And then suddenly it always kills me how certain rumors get started, and then globally everybody hears those rumors and it gets around in the world, and you're like, wow. And then somebody else brings it up in another state, that has never been to your state, and they know the same story, and you're like, whoa. Yeah.
Well, just to give more context, so the whole idea of like Britney Spears, right? That whole thing that everybody's been talking about for 2 years, that has been discussed by people, especially in the entertainment industry, for years before that ever gets out in the news. And so that's kind of the stuff that we hear. So I just think it would be a good mystery. Yeah. Then Michelle just said the funniest things. He said, "This is the worst episode of TMZ." Pretty accurate. I'm sorry. We have been so. It's my fault.
What do you got? She said, "What's his name? What do you got?" That's exactly TMZ. Oh, I never thought we'd be compared to TMZ.
I know.
I mean, in a good way.
And we're so vague. We're not giving any information.
I know this is the most vague. And did you hear about that?
I'll tell you something. There is a celebrity, and I won't tell you who, of course, because we don't want to throw them under the bus.
There is a celebrity who has a house that is full.
Full? That's the best we can tell you.
I tell you, but it's all Greek to me.
Exactly.
Doesn't have a hair out of place.
TMZ Vague Edition.
Of course, I'm talking about Dave Coulier. Anyway,
Yeah.
we
Oh, I like Dave. Dave's a great guy.
Have you met Dave
okay.
Coulier?
Yeah, I have. I met him in person. Worked with him very briefly at a comedy club, and he was a great guy.
Yeah.
He was just really good. Packed house, obviously, because he's Dave Coulier. And afterwards, he stood and he talked to me. Like, clearly, he was tired, but he chose to stay and talk. So that was cool. Have you met him?
Funny. I've had an email exchange with him though.
Oh, really?
Very early in so actually I'll tie all this in. So yesterday was my 12-year anniversary of doing stand-up.
What?
Yeah, I know. I didn't know it either. Facebook reminded me and I was like, oh, I never knew what the date was. I knew it was September, but I didn't know when it was. So anyway, but yeah, so 12 years of making people partially laugh at times. So I remember reaching out to Dave Coulier because he was in town and I couldn't go. And then for some reason, I was able to find an email. Don't ask me how. This was, again, 12 years ago-ish. So I just kind of like found Dave Coulier, sent him a little message, and then he responded with a really kind message and everything else. And, and it's not like I'm the biggest Dave Coulier fan on the planet. Yeah. For some reason, I just reached out to him. Have you done that? Have you reached out to different comics?
Yes.
Early on?
I also reached out to him before I ever even thought. I didn't know I was ever going to work with him. I sent him back when we had MySpace. I was like sick and I was just, it was after my surgery and stuff. And I was watching all these Full House episodes. So I just messaged him and I was like, hey, I was just, whatever. And he replied immediately. We were talking. He's probably been the best, most responsive one. I think on Instagram. Oh man, I forgot his name, but he was good too. I forget.
And who is this celebrity? We're back to our vagueness.
Jamie
There's
Kennedy.
Also another certain Jimmy Kimmel. Really?
No.
Oh,
Jamie Kennedy.
Oh, Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's He's good. Oh no, wait. What am I talking about? The best guy I've ever I was able to interview him for a podcast was Joel McHale, and he was the best.
Really?
Yeah, he was great. He chose to do my podcast, and it didn't even get off the ground. So it's sad. But
Jamie Kennedy actually did my radio show, really? And was the first celeb to drop the F-bomb, and the first time we had to use the delay.
Really?
Yeah,
I believe that.
He was in a cab coming to Phoenix.
Oh wow!
He didn't drive it. He didn't take the cab all the way to Phoenix. He was going to the airport.
Yeah.
I just realized something. Hang on 2 seconds. I'll show you this. So on my radio show, a frequent guest of the show was my fake Dave Coulier impression, which my fake Dave Coulier impression always consists of me doing hey, everybody, what are you doing? And I have to do the antlers when I do it. So anyways, that was a running gag, was always if anything was like, hey, what do the twins think? Kind of thing. So anyways, that's kind of how Dave Coulier became in my. So anyways, Stephanie, who's my radio partner, she bought me this. You see that?
Yeah.
This is it's signed by Dave Coulier.
Oh, I was going to say, why would she buy a rock? But I get it.
You know why? Because this is a Joey Gladstone. It's a Gladstone. Anyways, for you listening on the podcast, this is a rock with a smiley face on one side and Dave Coulier's signature on the other. I don't know how much she paid for it, but it's priceless. So
that's great.
I got that. I got a Joey Gladstone.
That's funny.
Which is much better than a kidney stone. I'm just gonna say.
Way better.
Way better.
But if I ever have a kidney stone, I do plan on autographing it and selling it.
So speaking of we're gonna go all over the place today, only because it's just you and I.
Yeah. Do whatever we want. We're going rogue.
We are going rogue. You know what? Fine. I'll join you, Chris. Okay. So all right.
Just listen, we need to retitle this episode the Rogue episode. All right.
The Rogue episode. So speaking of autographs and stuff like that. So when I did my radio show, I got to meet Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong.
Mm-hmm.
Which I grew up. I'm a good Christian kid, but not when I was a kid.
Yeah,
of course. I'm good now. But when I was a kid, we used to listen to Cheech and Chong albums all the time. And that was my upbringing. I know you're thinking your parents are terrible, Brian, but anyway, I came out okay. Don't worry. Anyway, but so Chong was on the show, and he had just gotten out of prison, so he had the funniest prison stories. He told me, he said, there's this dude who came up to me, man. He starts telling me jokes, and like some of them were pretty funny, And then he walks away, and this other prisoner walks up and goes, don't listen to that guy. He's been telling the same material for the past 10 years. This guy is such old. Anyway, but so I had this Cheech and Chong, the wedding album that I had. So I had him sign it, So that was pretty cool. I have a picture of him signing it and everything else. Anyways, I find out because I thought it was my brother's album and my brother didn't care. Anyways, later on, my sister tells me, I bought that album. It's my album. And I'm like, oh, you're kidding me now. So like, do you want the album? What's the deal? Right. So I see Tommy that night at the Tempe Improv. And he goes, oh man, hold on a second. So he grabs one of his shirts and then he writes on there, what's your sister's name? And I tell him, and he goes, okay. So he writes out to my sister, and, writes this nice little big message to her. He goes, give her that. Hopefully that'll take care of it, man. So I did. My sister's like, you can have the album. So it's kind of a weird thing, but he was super sweet. So Tommy Chong said, I'd mentioned that I said, my brother came out to the interview at the station, and Tommy's like, oh man, you guys brothers or whatever. And you're like, yeah. And then I said, when we were kids, there's nobody who was like half Asian like we were. Tommy Chong's half Chinese. And then he goes, oh man, I thought you guys were Mexicans. It's the story of my life. So even Tommy Chong called me a Mexican. See?
That's funny.
I'm Cheech and Chong.
That's funny. No, I haven't met them. I really enjoyed Louis Anderson. Met him in person. Sweetest guy ever.
Yeah.
Great hugger. Yeah. But,
come here, Chris.
Wait. Okay. Speaking of all of your voices, Brian, you have an album coming up where you get to do a lot of this stuff, and you're doing sketches, audio sketches, and stuff.
Based on my Cheech and Chong experience as a kid, yes.
Yes, of course.
Partially, I'm not lying when I say that. I was very influenced by sketch comedy when I was a kid, so that's kind of where it comes from. Sandler films too. Sandler's movie or Sandler's sketch comedy albums was a big thing, like in the 90s also. But there's a ton. I used to listen to a lot of sketch stuff, but
you had to listen to Norm Macdonald's. Norm Macdonald had one or something.
Even Norm's ridiculous. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is
great.
Not a listen for everybody.
when is yours going to come out?
So officially yesterday, I kind of completed everything, the last sketch. So right now I'm in the process of just going through them again, make sure everything's fine, and then fine tune it.
Wait, hold on. I thought I was going to be recording your last sketch.
That's right. So I had a sketch. This is for everyone. I had a sketch. Chris was supposed to be in it.
Yeah.
As an author.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of lines.
No.
But a few lines. Schedule conflicts happened and it didn't happen.
Okay. So it's my fault.
So no, well, listen, you're going to be happy by the end of this.
Oh,
so
good.
What I decided to do, you're going to get probably a little angry, and then you'll be fine. Anyway,
okay.
So then I thought, well, I can't get Chris, and then I got, you know what? I'm going to teach him a lesson. So I have these. I have this thing that I have, which is it's a synthetic voices. So I had the synthetic voice do it, right? So it was this British voice, which was okay. It wasn't perfect. It sounded a little bit stoic, There wasn't quite the inflection that needed to be there, but it was passable. Anyways, I edited it up, and as a good editor that I am, upon listening to everything, I thought, gosh, there needs to be cuts in here because the laughs don't hit fast enough. Mm-hmm. So I ended up having to cut all that out anyway. So in the long run, if I would have asked you to do it and I would have had to come back and say, I had to cut yours, then you would have been upset. And in the long run too, you would have been the only person I had to cut anyway.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah. I would have been.
If that makes you feel any better, I'm still gonna put you in the thank you notes. So
Why? I didn't do anything. I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say that you decided to teach me a lesson and that you were doing my voice on the skit. I thought you were gonna try to do my impression. Like that'd be cool.
I'm working on a Chris Wineland.
I'd be very impressed by that.
I get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's coming.
So
Well,
this was a lot of fun doing this album. So hopefully
Yeah.
by the time it comes out, if it does well, I may do another one.
For
But,
sure. Well, I can't. We'll do a release party on this show when it does come out. So just make sure that you let us know. I'm thrilled. I cannot wait to listen to it. It'll come out.
It's funny because how familiar are you with like sketch albums? I mean, is it a thing that
honestly,
is in your?
I'm not that familiar. Not with
Okay.
sketch. I mean, I've listened, yeah, but it's not like. For me, I'm more into the. I grew up more with like sketches visually,
Sure.
not audio.
Yeah. Now I found that my son had my son's 18. My son had no concept of this at all.
Okay.
And then he listened to the first sketch and went, huh, okay, I get it. Like it was a new concept to like, what? No visuals? Like I have to imagine all this. That's the thing, man. But those types of sketches, when you listen to it, your mind takes you to wherever you need to be. It's like listening to stand up. The first time you heard it, you would only imagine what the comedic, the comedian's doing. And then when you actually see it, you're like, oh, now that joke makes sense on a different level.
You know what? 2 years ago, I didn't know what I was doing exactly. But 2 years ago for Christmas Eve, I decided, because, a lot of times on Christmas Eve, there will be these Facebook pages that will live stream like a fireplace and it'll just say Merry Christmas, and everything like that. So I created a 2-hour long, you see the fireplace, but you hear arguments of families. And so I had improv people come. This was before we met. Otherwise, I would have had you be a part of it. And we did 2 hours of just a family arguing. And, we set up a little table with plates and forks. And, because I thought, how many, in Christmas Eves, everybody tries to make it seem perfect, but it's not half the time.
Right.
So it's like, what if we just had it? And I got to say, it was probably the least viewed thing I've ever done, but it's the most proud I've ever been.
That's great. That's a great. You could do that for Thanksgiving too.
Yeah, I should probably just do it for Thanksgiving instead of Christmas because people are too busy on Christmas. But Thanksgiving, they don't mind having something in the background. So that's exactly. I should do it again.
That's a perfect idea.
Yeah,
because we do the fireplace too on our TV.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's Arizona, where no one's going to fire up a real fireplace here on Christmas. It's like 75 degrees.
Well, that was my theory of what if I could trick people. Like that was my real thing. I wanted to make people type in fireplace. I wanted to try to like get to the top. They would click it because it looks like a beautiful fireplace, and they'd walk away because the first like 20 seconds is the crackling, and then you hear somebody slowly like, hey, blah blah blah, and it's very quiet, and then it just keeps escalating and escalating, and then you start to get into plots, and then my hope is that you start to hear this stuff. And you get too into what the family's doing and their secrets that you're like, I just got to keep it on now. What's happening?
You want to find out what Billy did. Yeah.
Right. That was literally the whole master plan. And,
that is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Conceptually, if you did a movie from one angle at the table.
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, I think it's worth a try again. Probably Thanksgiving. Got to change some things up, but that's the most I've ever gotten to audio sketches. So
yeah, it's pretty good.
I'll have to have you.
It's funny because it's a little bit, and not to. We'll move on here in a second. It's just a different beast to try to do something that people don't. We're so used to visuals now that when you try to do something, you have to create it all. Because I mean, I'm a visual guy. I'm a video guy by heart, But to do the audio is something I'm not. I've gotten better at over the years when I started doing radio and stuff. But you have to create that whole world with the sound effects and everything else around it to make it, to put you in the places. If you got people moving around, I have like a voiceover thing where they're talking in the lobby and they go into the thing, but I had to transition footsteps, doors, all that kind of stuff. So you go, okay, now we're in this room. Change the sound so it sounds like they're in a different room. So it's been fun. It's been challenging. Again, I'm not done. I think it should be out before the end of the year. We're pretty close. So
okay, I'm excited. And then, do you have artwork Are you getting some
I'm
artwork?
working on that. I'll tease the title of the album.
Yeah, do it.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Secret Asian Man. So there you go.
That's a great album title,
Like a great album title. I think it's good. It says a lot about me. It says it's fun. It's catchy. So
well, the only thing is, to be honest, I was gonna name my album that. Is that okay?
I think it's okay.
Okay.
I don't think they'll confuse us.
No, not at all. If we had the
Speaking
same
of titles real quick, not to jump the gun, but we both did Dry Bar specials within a week of each other.
Yeah.
It's going to be 2022 if you're listening still.
Mhm.
For anybody still listening. So, did you come up with your title for yours?
I did, yeah. I kept debating, and then at the end of the day, I just went with my gut.
Yeah.
And so I don't like long titles. I prefer quick ones. So yeah, should I say it?
Do you want to share it?
Yeah, I don't care.
Start hyping it now. Let's hype it now.
Let's hype it now. So I went with I'm Terrified because I say it the whole special. So yeah.
So Chris Wineland, I'm Terrified.
That's right.
I love it too because the picture of you is going to be like, holding the microphone all terrified.
I know. Well, there's a lot of faces I make, so
yeah. What was your backup title? Do you have a backup title?
Yeah, it was too long, but it was just to duck the hip, and that's what my family said. They were like, "What if you called it that?" And I was like, "It's too long."
Say that again. What was it?
Just abduct my hip. It's a big part of the bit, and I'm like, "That's like a whole punchline. It's too much."
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think hip abductor was number 3, so it's like it's that part of that same thing.
Yeah. The only reason I asked too is because I just ran across one of my notes. So I named mine Japanese Bedtime Story.
Nice.
Which I think fits. My backup was Brian Kahatsu, Wham. Which I kind of like that one too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're both good. You're gonna have a great special. I really want to, and you've been inspiring me, but I really want to record a Spotify album, just stand up. And so I think I want to just take a bunch of bits over the past 13 years, and some of the stuff has already been recorded, but but I've added on to it since it's been recorded. And some of it will probably be, not much, but a few things from Dry Bar. And then I have, which, I've been touring with 25 brand new minutes. So I've been really thinking about it. I'm like, I've always wanted a Spotify album. I think, why not?
Right. Sure. I think the other thing too is, looking back at all the old stuff. I mean, do you notice too, like the evolution of jokes as you go like, wow, this was the first time I told this joke. It's not even the same now. It's kind of cool to really look at that. When I was when I first started comedy, my friend gave me and you may cringe, you may not, a Dane Cook DVD. Dane Cook used to be a thing. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Anyway, he gave me this DVD, but on it had something called like the evolution of the joke. And it was Dane Cook telling the same joke over the course of like a year.
Yeah.
To where it started and where it finished up. And that was very like inspirational to watch, going like, oh, okay. Because I was young at comedy going, oh, I thought it just first time out of your mouth, that's how it is, kind of thing, and not realizing like how much things evolve over time. I mean, for me, the only one I have my show and tell joke from where that started to where it is now is night and day. I mean, it was an angry joke for some reason when it first started. Still an angry joke, but it was like mean at first. I don't know why. But that joke changed because I had a cold at one point and I was over medicated.
A lot of my jokes changed because I forget like where the heck I was going. So then I just improvise and I'm like, wow, that was way better. And then I get through it. The new stuff, I don't feel like, I mean, it's really good. It's one of the first times where I've had, just a solid big bit where I'm like, people love it. I mean, the one time we were at Stir Crazy and it was a standing ovation. Like I literally had that was insane. It was Clean Comedy USA was that night, and it was an actual standing ovation. And I was like, I was only 2 months into that whole
Huh.
thing. So I was like, what the? I've
Yeah.
never seen that before. So that's cool. But at the same time, as a comic, I'm still tweaking. I'm like, yeah, I got to change
Yeah.
this. This is dead in the water. This is some fat I got to trim, And so we've got a huge show, the show I'm looking forward to, which is Willow Creek in February. So my goal is to have everything so well polished by then. So
Yeah. I think we'll be good by then.
yeah.
We'll be super good by then because the world will be back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
It won't be.
So I'm looking forward to that too. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. I gotta update you on my life.
Yes.
Oh, I got a 2-year-old coming in.
Okay.
I may have to
Coming
mute.
in hot.
Coming in hot. You may have to improvise. Give me. I may have to mute. Yeah. Give me.
Okay.
Give me. Hi. Oh, you want to say hi?
So
Say hi to Brian. Actually, I got to tell a really funny story about him. So
our
say
first
hi.
guest this morning. Hey Johnny. Hi, buddy.
Say hi, Johnny.
Why
Okay.
is his TV talking back to me?
I know. So he's used to this kind of thing. He's always with me when I'm doing interviews and stuff. But okay, so Johnny came to our first show that we did for Generationally Funny Comedy Tour. And for those that haven't been to our show yet, please, you got to go get tickets to the next one in your area. But at the beginning of the show, it has pictures of all of us as kids. And he's sitting in like the second row with my wife and with Micah. And so he sees me as a kid picture. And I don't have a beard or anything. I'm a kid. And he points at it and he goes, "That's Daddy." And she's like, "Wow. Yeah. How'd you know that?" Then a kid picture of Brian pops up and he goes, "That's me." And Micah started laughing like, "Oh, really? Okay."
I'm telling you, first time I saw Johnny, I was like, it's kind of pretty close to what I looked like as a kid. He's got the same haircut I had.
Really?
Yeah. I had kind of almost the exact same haircut.
Mommy.
Oh, she's out. You'll see her in about an hour. So we can interview him if you want. He's very
Sure.
good with asking questions.
First of all, that's a very good starter interview question. Where's mommy?
Where's mommy? That's
solid.
That's how you start every interview.
It's a who, what, when, and where. It's got everything you want. It's pretty much the perfect question. Where's mommy?
It pretty much is.
I say it daily in this house to my kids. Hey, where's mommy?
Hey,
They go, I don't know. She's upstairs. Like, why don't you go look yourself, fat boy? Why don't you get your butt up the stairs and go look yourself?
Well, could you imagine like landing an interview with like your dream celebrity and then just being like, "Okay, well, first things first, Mr. President," I don't know who we're interviewing. Where's mommy?
That's Barbara Walters' best question. In 1978, you moved to the United States. May I ask you, where's mommy? And this is like, it's a Shah of Iran or something. It's back in 79 when she did that. It's crazy. It's a crazy time. Barbara Walters.
Mommy. Her
mommy?
accent was great. I remember one of the first time I used to love Barbara Walters, Most Influential People of the Year show.
Yeah.
Oh man. She doesn't do it anymore, does she? Or does
she's
she?
not, I don't even think she's on anymore at all.
I didn't think so.
She's up there, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she is.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I've ever seen Joel Osteen ever. And it was
really?
funniest thing. Because like her questions, you could just tell like it was out of her element. The idea of like religion at all seemed to be very strange to her. And all the questions she was asking. And there was the first time where I was like, I feel like he's being very gracious.
I don't know, because I saw that interview and her first question was, "Where's the father?"
I like it. That was good.
That's like a callback.
Don't worry about Chicago. Eat your food.
He's all worried about the Chicago dates coming up. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. He's like,
don't worry about it. We're gonna sell tickets. Don't you worry.
Dad, get your merch together. Come on.
I know.
Chicago's
Actually,
right around
I'm gonna tell you something exciting. So Chicago is my favorite city in the world, which you guys know that. I love Chicago, always have. And the weekend, so we're that Friday, and I found out, and I'm a big basketball fan. And so that Saturday there's a home game for the Chicago Bulls. So I'm like, Yep, I'm buying tickets, and they're so cheap right now. They were 25 for the nosebleeds and like 40 for like a pretty good seats.
Yeah.
So my friend, who's always like the entrepreneur guy, he goes, "You should buy like 10 or 12 of those tickets and then sell them when they raise, because the prices will raise when the season starts. Like just sell them." And I was like, "That's genius. I almost need a loan. I think I want to get a loan." And then when they're like, "What do you want the loan for?" I'm like, "I'm just gonna buy a whole bunch of tickets that I'm gonna sell."
I like that you're a scalper too on the side.
Oh, for sure. I'm gonna. Why don't you go ahead and entertain the people, Brian? I gotta mute
All right.
myself.
All right, you go ahead and go. There you go. Okay, well, Chris, let me turn my hat back around because rally time's over apparently for that. So hopefully Chris will be rejoining us. Well, yeah, we appreciate you guys listening. And just let you know, generationallyfunny.com is actually the tour that we've been talking about. There it is right there. Generationallyfunny.com for future dates coming up. And then we're always adding more dates. So make sure you check that out. And crosseyeedcomedy.com if for some reason you're having trouble spelling generationally funny, because it will happen. We found out this 2 weeks ago. They kept advertising it as generationally comedy, so that doesn't tend to work. So I'm going to promote the guys here because they're not here. This show, of course, is themorninglaugh.com, so make sure that you check us out. Tell your friends about us. Mike James is not currently here, but MikeJamesComedy.com. Check out all the things that are Mike James. I know we talked about him earlier, but we're talking about him again, so check out his website. He's got some stuff on there. JoshNovi.ninja. Josh is getting married this week. We did not talk about that, but Josh is getting married this Saturday, and so we're looking forward to his new life and all the new things that come from that, being married. We're very happy for Josh. Josh, check out joshnovi.ninja. Also, Josh is putting out a lot of videos on Instagram at the current moment. And also, don't forget Chris Wineland, chriswinelandcomedy.com.
That's right.
Well, look at that. You came in just on your right cue at chriswinelandcomedy.com. Make sure you go visit all of his social medias, and then make sure that you pick up a copy of his book, which normally I have somewhere on my table, but it's not at the moment. So if you want to check that out.
Yeah.
And then, of course, me, BrianKahatsu.com.
Brian
Check that out. And hopefully the album will be up there too. My merch is still available. Merch is doing pretty well. My first merch of my dragon shirt with the 3 pigs on there is doing very well. So
great merch.
Cool.
Love it.
Everything okay in the house there? We've averted any disasters?
No, well, no, there was a disaster, but everything's fine.
Okay. And the first thing out of your mouth was, "Where's mommy?"
Yeah.
Like a different kind of question. It's like,
exactly. Oh man.
I'll tell you what,
everywhere. So
have you gotten to the stage where have you gotten into the spills?
What do you mean?
Like Johnny spilling stuff every once in a while?
That's what just happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think it's worse for some reason when they hit 3 or 4 years old, when they they've got things down, then there becomes this new clumsiness that happens with spills where you're like, you should know better. You don't say that to them, but you're thinking like, you should know better.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, milk and orange juice are the worst. So I'm just trying to prep you. I'm just prepping you.
I'm glad you were prepping me.
Just stop and take a breath. That's what I've learned. Just and then continue.
We're still in the cute phase with him, where it's like he's tripping, but it's like adorable because he's like 2.
Right.
You know? It's like, oh, he tripped over nothing. But I could imagine in 2 more years that might get a little old.
Yeah.
But we're cool with it now. He had the Fruit Loops. I have no idea how it dropped, but somehow it dropped. And our dogs have gained weight since Johnny, really. And so all the food was on the floor, and the dogs started eating all the food. And then he complains when the dogs eat the food, but he wants them to eat it. So it's this fun dynamic.
Dogs are very smart because they will hover underneath. All right.
Yes.
They're like, this kid doesn't know it. No, he's gonna drop it. Just wait.
He's gonna drop it. I'll just wait.
Yeah,
that's literally what's happening right now. So
I'll tell you, my dog right now. So I have a yellow lab, and my yellow lab is a pretty normal dog, other than being the dumbest dog I've ever owned, but lovable, so lovable. Anyways, we found out that he loves those candy corns.
Yeah.
He'll do anything for a candy corn. If you stand up and go to the kitchen at all, he's like, "Boy, hey," and then he'll follow you, and he just looks up on the table because he can't see them. Like, I know they're up there, but he'll like anything. Even my son, my dog doesn't really. He's not a fan of my son, but my son will go down and he'll come right to him. It's like, golly, that and Rice Krispie treats. I don't know what the deal is. If I mix the two, I got a circus act. That dog will do anything. I'm telling you.
That's right. That's funny. Yeah, no, dogs are crazy. I wanted to add something. You had already said it, but Josh's wedding is coming up. Super excited about that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he and I, he has a show at a college. He asked me to join him like 8 months ago. So I'm joining him. We have a show tonight at a college. And
Okay.
trying to remember the name of it.
A generic college to be named later.
A generic college. Which, speaking of we have 3 minutes. You just got a job at a college, correct?
Yeah.
Not the one I'm performing at.
No.
Is it too
I
much?
got a job at a major college, and kicking and screaming, I took this job. How's that?
Yeah, you're not happy about it, right?
Here's the deal: when it's in the middle of a pandemic and places are shut down and you can't get any bookings, and somebody goes, "Hey, you wanna work for this college?" and you go, I guess I have to do what I need to. And then you go through the interview process going, answering their questions. And then you get hired and you're like, what am I doing? So,
well,
anyways.
it's not permanent, right? Is it like just for a semester?
It's not a bad deal. It's half semesters. So it's not even a full semester. It's a mini semester class. And so it's just so much paperwork. And HR, I've spent 3 days doing paperwork and watching sexual harassment videos and diversity videos. And now I just found out I got to go through and do the entire course before I teach the course. So I have 3 weeks basically to cram in 8 weeks worth of stuff, or 6 weeks, whatever it is. I don't remember. Anyways, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I have always wanted to teach a college class. I don't know why, and I would take any college, even if I don't like it, I'll do it. So if you ever need a guest teacher, you can make up what I do. You don't even, in fact, tell them what I do, but don't tell me. And I'll just make context clues to what I'm teaching them. Okay. So that would be fantastic.
You'll have to wear a brown corduroy jacket with patches.
I could do that. Yeah.
And for you, I see a pipe.
Okay.
I'll do pipe.
Yeah.
Would be good. And,
am I going to Goodwill Hunting it too, where I pick like a janitor that I care about and like, you're smart, you got this.
You'll be like, hey, you come back here, and he'll run from you the first time. And then, but then you'll set traps for him.
Yeah.
And then you'll,
then it'll be mine. Yeah. Dude, I'd do that.
It's funny that we've talked around what this is, but it's funny. I'm teaching advanced mathematics anyway, but I hate it. Anyways.
Wait, are you teaching advanced mathematics? I thought you were teaching screenwriting or something.
I'm teaching rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, right.
Okay. Yeah. So
why did I believe advanced mathematics? What is that? Why would I?
Because I'm half Asian. You thought maybe he really does know math. It's true though. I only know fractions. Heyo. That's an old joke that I used to do. I'm not good at math, but I'm good at fractions. Half of the time. I'm kidding. A quarter of the time. More.
Do you have shows coming up this weekend?
I do. I'll be at your church. Actually, apparently you're not going to be there, but I will be there on Saturday night at Oasis Church. And then Saturday night I'll be at Stir Crazy Comedy Club.
Sunday night?
With George Cantor, and last minute replacement on the headliner is now I forgot his name. Oh, Tom Clark. Very funny Tom Clark.
Yeah, great.
So looking forward to that. So
perfect. I have
a show with them before. How about you? Tonight. You got the college tonight?
I have a college tonight, and then I have a couple of weddings that I'm a part of this weekend. So
yeah, you're going to your wedding, and I'm going to my wedding.
Yeah.
And that'll be good. Well, cool.
Yep.
Well, it's been an hour. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
I'm so glad we had this time together. Ooh, remind me to tell you next week about what would be deemed the most racist sketch ever on Carol Burnett that I watched the other day, which I saw it as a kid, didn't think it was racist. Now I don't know. My wife asked me, is that racist? I said, I don't know, by today's standards. So I love Tim Conway. He can do no wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, we'll talk about that later. All right.
Okay.
I think we're done.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Let me
Thanks.
find that big outro. Okay. All right. Well, Chris, have a wonderful day. And everyone else listening, have a great day too.
Thanks.
Good morning.